Okay, this was my first effort. It's from a dismantled mate and wedge tail. Body is African blackwood, great sustain on it. And the inspiration for the sound, I was looking to try and get the same sound as Ed Cooper's SG on that early Laughing Clown stuff. And it actually ended up surprisingly close, given that it's got virtually nothing in common. Great old mate and pickup, and it sounds fantastic. Disconnected the Bigsby because hell for putting it out of tune. But I played this in bands for 35 to 40 years. Very reliable. Nothing can really go wrong on it. 2 knobs only, 1 pickup. Great, and not very heavy, so you can play it all night long and not end up leaning hard to the left. There's 2 other instruments. The redneck, which Kelly has got. The body is based, I think, a bit on an Italian echo guitar, but stretched out a bit more and really chunky looking. And that's interesting because it's got a bug directly under the heel of the neck and a fantastic Bill Lawrence pickup. I think one of the last ones that he wound just before he died, because I'd PayPal'd off for it and it didn't turn up for ages, and I ended up harassing his wife about where it was, not realising that he was actually dying as I was harassing her, so I felt a bit bad about that. It's a great sounding pickup. And there's a tenor ukulele that Megan has got. It's again, it's laminated up. It's got quite a bit of silky oak, but I think the back of it it's got some white cedar in it. And I can't remember what the other wood is in it offhand.
And the copper from...
Yeah, it's got that's right, it's got an aluminium soundboard, an archtop aluminium soundboard, and a weird bit of copper inlay on the sound hole, which you'll see when you see it. It's up here, and it gets a very nice attenuated sound coming out of the pretty tiny holes, which I think was one of the things that they got quite right with Ovations. There's a lot of other things that I don't like about them. I never understood the small holes until I started fiddling around with different size sound holes and realising just how much it does change the quality of the sound that comes out of them. And I've seen people that are actually making insertable rosettes with all different size holes, so you can boost different frequencies and whatever in your acoustic guitar, which is along the same idea. The instrument that I started playing music on was the Appalachian Mountain Dulcimer, not this one. To my great regret, I sold the original one I had when punk rock started because I needed an electric guitar. So I remade this, my own dulcimer. Many of the instruments I've got are made out of silky oak, which I think is called lacewood in America. And we had a huge stash of it because in the Brisbane flood, a room-sized chicken incubator got flooded and written off, and my father and I pulled it all apart, and a lot of the timber came from it. I'll take it. If I take it up close, will you get a view of the grain in the wood?
Yeah, beautiful.
Okay. It's got a diatonic scale. You can play 90% of pop songs on them in one tuning or another. The actual fretboard of it's a fence post from around here, ironbark or something. And they traditionally have violin type tuners, but they're a bit tricky in the weather up here, so I just went for machine heads. This is the Sittenbacker. The body of it, you'll probably eventually see the redneck that Callier's got. It used to have the neck which is on the redneck used to be on this. This body has actually had half a dozen different necks on it over the time, and it was lying around, and I got an interest in 19 intervals to the octave, which is close to a just intonation tuning. 19 tet, I think they call it. Their ratio is 2 1/19, I think, and that's 63 point something cents, the interval between the frets. The other side of it, the bass string side, is a straight Pythagorean scale, and you can actually see the enharmonic here. The 2 little frets really close to each other. One is the correct position going up, and the other one's the correct position going down. So there's an enharmonic here and there, and on that one. And yeah, the top 4 strings have the the 19 intervals to the octave on them. And it's a fascinating sound. It's a bit weird the first time you play it, but within a couple of days of playing it, it sounds completely natural. And I had thought that the 19 intervals to the octave was a kind of modernist thing that came out of after 12-tone scale, but actually, in fact, it was a mathematical idea from the Renaissance. So it's a lot older than what I thought. It's got a series of removable fretboards. The fretboard comes off with a couple of screws, and I had planned to make a whole lot of different scale lengths, but got so involved in the 19 that I never made the other ones. But sometime in the future, perhaps we'll have, you know, a 32 interval or whatever. This one here is the electric version of the Appalachian Mountain Dulcimer. I made it for the reunion of the folk, pop, funk band, Samurai Trash, that I was in. I used to play, I had a range of dulcimers, but one of them went to Dublin and other ones got sold to other people, so I had to make another one a few years ago. It's made with some pine from the inside of the chicken incubator, and again, fence post for the neck. Oh, it sounds fantastic. Really nice sustain. A pleasure to play. It's on some of the stuff from our new album, some of the tracks. Pony Princess, in fact, just the other day, and I think it's probably on a couple of other tracks. These two are the sailing trophy instruments. The resonators are made out of trophies for racing model boats that Annette and I used to do. This one is the Ladies Champion parlour cigar box guitar, and this one is a fretless paired string device. Great for sliding, little augmentation on stuff, not a kind of rhythm instrument, but if you want to add little bits of sound, like no other sound, great for it. I don't know if you can read the inscriptions on the back, but it's the, and you can see the Ladies Champion inscription in there. And the back of it is a Habanos cigar box. This one here's another dulcimer. It's got completely removable fretboard on it. This one again is 19 tones to the octave down one side, and I'm not sure what I was thinking with the other side. I think the other side may be a very close equivalent to standard dulcimer tuning on the two rhythm strings. Hand wound pickup, which is okay, not fantastic. I think I could do them better now. I was just experimenting with the idea. It's carved out of two bits of the silky oak and joined in the middle, so I cut the two halves, routed the inside of it out, and then stuck it together, rather like a system they used to call in building wooden model yachts called the bread and butter method, where you cut all the profile shapes of the boat out and stick it together in a stack, and you can get it hollowed out easily. It's got really, really beautiful grain on it. This is a resonator slide guitar, a cymbal for the resonator. This is the end of a 1920s vacuum cleaner that was my grandmother's. The tailpiece is a bit of a a George roof rack, and the next section is one that I used to use a lot on my early dulcimers with the thing, so it's a bit like a tiller on a boat, I guess. This is a bowed instrument, a diddley bow, on a sort of dog bowl with an aluminium top on it. You get a beautiful humming sound. I just stick a little bug on here under the string when I'm using it, and you just bow it, generally held transversely like a cello or something. This one's the Banjolina Mark II, the Banjolina Mark 1 you sold. The idea behind it was that full-size banjos are incredibly loud and tend to overpower everything. So using the smaller resonator, it's not so loud, you can play it quite loud and it's not going to be all over the top of the vocals. And that was quite a thing with a lot of my instruments. I found that conventional dreadnought acoustic guitar is sitting right in the middle of my vocal range, just kind of muffling everything up, so I wanted sound that was going to either be above or below that range. So I was quite deliberate going the dulcimer thing, which gives you the high end, to get above it, and it's kind of jangly and it's more like an electric guitar but on the acoustic guitar level. And this is a work in progress, still to be finished off, but not far off it. I've had a few ideas. It's going to have a kind of sitar bridge on it. It's got a banjo neck and very thin body, as you can see. I'm going to build some sort of aluminium housing behind the back. So I started this one about 6 months ago and went into a great frenzy on it, and then got sidetracked, but I'm about to recommence and finish it. And I think it's going to sound great. Sort of I think it will be like a cross between a sitar and a banjo in its sound, I'm hoping, but electrified.
Robbery is over, counting what went wrong. I can see the shining path where your life has gone. It's not right, kill the car headlight, kill the car headlight. This body swathed in furs and jewels, you finally done it proud. Everything you never had, you had it for now in ocelot.